Welcome to Hit or Miss. Today we're taking a look at the live action Avatar: The Last Airbender show. Now this is a show that I wouldn't say I was expecting the worst, but I wasn't expecting it to be great either. I grew up watching Avatar: The Last Airbender as a kid, and I have rewatched it multiple times as I've been growing up. Now this isn't a show that I was expecting to be complete garbage, but it wasn't a show that I was expecting to be good either. And my opinion overall is it was okay. Like, it wasn't awful. Some people, okay, here's the one thing that I've noticed in terms of discussion online. A lot of people either think that it's garbage and it's trash, or they think it's actually really good. Well, let's be real here. No one really thinks it's that good. It's passable, right? And I fall into the camp of the middle where it's not bad, it's not garbage, but it's not really, it's not amazing either, right? A lot of the general discussion around this has been, why watch this when you could just watch the original? And I kind of agree. Watching this show, here's the things that I do like. I'll just start off with that. The show has great visuals. I think that the visuals are actually really good. When it comes to anything live action that adapts anything from a cartoon, an anime, whatever the case might be, typically all the effects look like dog shit. It looks like trash. It doesn't actually look that great. Of course, if we all remember the original Avatar movie that happened that we all try to forget about, of course, people are going to be skeptical and wonder, is this shit actually going to look good? Are they actually going to put effort into it? And they did. I will say that that is one of the greatest things about this show, but I think it's also one of its biggest flaws, but I'll go into that in a second as well too. Another thing I really liked about this show is just the performances. I think all the actors and actresses did a great job. I think that it was actually really solid. There was never a moment where I was kind of rolling my eyes or like, oh my lord, what in the fuck is this? It was never like that. It was actually just solid. And I really want to give a highlight to Zuko because I think he did a great job, in my personal opinion. Of all the characters from this entire show, I think they did such a great job with Zuko, and he really nailed it. I know that from what I've been hearing, there were people that were kind of complaining about how the character's portrayed and always being upset and throwing shit and being angry, but that's kind of really who Zuko is at the beginning of The Last Airbender. He is always hot-headed, he's angry, he's mad, and so that's to be expected. Sure, you could sit there and maybe say it was kind of overboard and they kind of was doing it too much with his character, but it wasn't to the point where I was like, oh my fucking god, does this man ever stop? Does he ever just be calm? Like, no, you gotta have some form of character development. But character development is where the series, the show falls flat. I think character development, I think just in general, the writing and everything alongside it is just completely rushed. Like, my compliments for this show is really only that the actors and actresses did a great job. I think the performances were great. I think that the visuals are phenomenal. I think the visuals are just absolutely stunning. It feels really good to see Avatar at least be somewhat treated with respect. But that's really all the good things I have to say about it. But I don't really think anything else about the show is all that great. I'm gonna just be honest here. So let's go with the writing, the narrative. If you sit there and you watch the original Avatar: The Last Airbender, you're gonna sit there and watch this show and be like, what in the fuck is going on here? It's so hard to describe this in a sense of something that makes sense, but the best way I can describe it is like someone had an idea board and they were like, all right, here's Avatar: The Last Airbender, the cartoon, here's our show, how are we going to piece all this together? And so they took a couple parts and then they just said, all right, we're going to put this and all here, and then they shuffled it up. It's like they got Spotify shuffle, right? And then they just mixed it all up. After they put it all together in a timely order, in a manner that makes sense, they just hit the shuffle button and said, there we go, we got a story, boys, let's do this. This story and this pacing is absolute dog shit. It is absolutely makes no sense to me. I don't come into this expecting a one-to-one recreation. I understand that. It's no point, right? Like, if you're going to do a one-to-one, why even bother watching the live action other than, I guess, to see it, happen with actual actors and actresses and real-time effects. But this show just deviates from the entire formula completely, and it's just like a husk. It's like, the best way I can describe it is like Avatar: The Last Airbender trying to cosplay itself. It's trying to be like the real thing, but it can't be. It's not, it doesn't want to be, or as some people have been saying online, is that it's changing things just for the sake of changing things with no logical reasoning or explanation behind it. It was one of the things that was controversial leading up to the show's release, was that they changed Sokka's character, and they said they didn't want him to be sexist, so they removed all of that out of it, and people were like, that makes no sense. Why would you remove that one? That's part of his character development, that his character growth. That's something that he eventually starts to. I don't want to spoil the show just in case you've never seen the actual original cartoon, but like, you to sit there and take a core integral part of his character development and growth out of the show it claimed that it was sexist. I don't know. It just makes no sense to me. Like, one of the things they took out that stood out right off the bat was they took away all the side adventures, the things that actually gave the characters character development and character growth and actually made them feel like actual friends. This show does a speed run and how fast the whole entire crew becomes actual friends, and all they're so tightly knitted and they're kumbaya singing friends and everything. No, like it makes no sense. It feels like every time you started a new episode, it's like you missed something. It's like something happened that was off screen that you didn't know about, and it was like all their character bonding elements and growth, and it was just off screen and it never happened in the actual show, so you can never see it. And so every episode, it's like everyone's just becoming closer and more friendly and everything else. And it makes no sense. It's like, how is this happening? Where did it happen? Because the way the show is structured is every single episode is that they're just going boom, 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 boom. We're just fucking going. I'm the Avatar and I need to sit there and learn how to sit there and save the world. I'm fucking useless, but I'm gonna figure it out. And I'm just going to keep going scene after scene after scene. And like, it makes no fucking sense, dog. Like, what the hell? What's going on? Why do you not let shit breathe? And the thing is, they try to cram so much into a fucking hour-long episode for 8 episodes, and at times it felt like they were trying to speed rush to the fucking end of the actual original show itself. With this show, it genuinely feels like they're trying to take the best moments that they can. They're like, oh shit, this is hype, this is cool, this is amazing, and let's just throw it on in and call it a day. And I get it to an extent so that it can sit there and bring hype and more people like, oh shit, this is fucking cool. I can't wait to see more of this. But if you're going to do that, make sure it works with the narrative correctly. It just, in my opinion, it just didn't make sense. And maybe it's because I've seen the cartoon, so I'm comparing it to it in my mind, even though I know it should still be treated as its own separate thing. But there's just some moments in here that just literally make no sense to me. And I don't know why they try to do the pacing that they did. I also think because of the poor writing and just the odd pacing entirely, it sort of hurts the character development and character moments that some of the characters like Katara and Sokka will have throughout this show. Because of how they choose to do things in this live action, it feels like some of the moments lose its emotional impact and it doesn't really matter as much. And it really hurts to see that. Again, there's so much they could do, and they just kind of toss it out the window and they ruin a lot of characters, at least in my personal opinion. One of those really being King Boomy. I think that they turned him into someone that was really intriguing and someone interested in, it left kind of mysterious moments, especially when you first watch the cartoon, to this person in the live action who's just kind of like a aggressive hothead who is kind of being mysterious but kind of not, but just kind of like an absolute douchebag or asshole to Aang, and that's really not how he was in the cartoon. I don't really understand why they shifted his character so much, but I wasn't a fan of it. I thought it was fucking trash. I thought it was just awful altogether. But when one of the most integral parts of a show is the writing and you land flat on that and you don't do right by the narrative, that can make or break a show. And honestly, I think it breaks the show. Again, I don't think it's terrible, but I think it's just, it makes no sense. Like, I don't know how someone who has never seen the actual cartoon itself would view this show. I don't know if they would actually like it or if they would dislike it. For me personally, I'm like, man, I don't know. Like, it's good for background noise, I'll say that. I do think that the choreography was good. The fight scenes were great. I think that they put a lot of care and passion into certain parts of this show. But again, when your most integral part is the writing and you land flat on that, it can't redeem everything else, because of course you're watching a show for the story. Like, I granted, I know some people watch shows just for the special effects, or like for me, I would probably have season 2 on. It's just background noise while I do other stuff and not even really pay attention. But most people want to watch a show because they want to have a plot. They want to have something that's decent and something to follow along to and get excited for. And this one just doesn't do a good job at it. Like, I don't know any other way to describe it. Oh, one more thing I want to add in real quick that I think is so fucking odd. It's so fucking weird. So there is one character that was prominent in the original cartoon, which is Suki. And Suki is someone that Sokka met at Kyoshi Island. And she was actually playing a big part in Sokka's character growth, at least in the original. In this shit, I don't get it, dog. They make Sokka gain feelings, and I don't know, man. He meets fucking Suki in the first episode, and by the time that shit's over, they're already making out. They're like lovers and ready to go. I'm like, hey, what's going on here? This man just sitting there just falling in love right off the bat. And the same thing happened towards the end of the show, which I won't bother spoiling. I'll let it if you want to see it for yourself. But it's just like, man, go 0 to 100 in a heartbeat, already starting to make out with the person before the episode's over, and they just met them in the same fucking episode. What on earth is going on here? What happened to development? Add on to that, they kind of made Suki just like just a lover's interest. That's really all she was in this live action. She sit there and Sokka shows up and she's just like, oh fuck, oh my lord, oh who is this dude? And she's just falling in love the entire show. That's more or less her entire character. And I guess her character development, which was running at the speed of light from the Flash, and she just immediately fell in love and was just like head over heels for him, which, you know, there's nothing wrong with it. Like, I don't want to sit there and make it sound like that. Oh, so you don't think that's possible? You don't think love at first sight? I'm not saying that, but for the sake of the show, they could at least let it breathe and at least let the connection be a little bit more natural as time progressed, instead of like, if there's one thing that I really think they could have done better was just that, because it just felt so weird. Like, there was one scene in the show where she literally just is looking at Sokka more or less naked, right? Like, come on, dog. What? Like, she's just literally just like head over heels, like, oh my lord. Like, she was just like, and you have to remember, they just met. Like, these are people who literally just met. Unless there is some off-screen, like I said earlier in this review, unless there was some off-screen character development that I'm not aware of that's happened, it just makes no sense to already be doing shit like that's just fucking odd at that point, bro. Let's be real here, right? Like, to me personally, the scenes just didn't feel like they were necessary or added to the story or character development. It just made Suki out to be someone who was just like super in love, and the only thing on her mind was just wanting to make out with Sokka, and you know, who else? Who knows what else, right? It just, I don't know. They could have really fleshed out and done way better with it. And the way that they chose to do it in this live action was just, and to me, I just didn't like how they did it in the live action. But again, it shows because they rushed this fucking story. They did not pace things out. And then they said, all right, we're going to pick and choose our favorite moments. And then if we're greenlit a second season, then maybe we'll try and expand more on other things. I think that is literally what they did with this show. They were not sure that they were going to get a second season. So to keep themselves safe, they picked and choose the best moments that they could think of that doesn't really encroach too far into the end of the last book. And then they all try to speed run it and rush it all into this fucking single season. And I think that was an awful idea. Either you pace your shit out correctly and then you just take the chance that you get your shit canceled after the first season, or you just don't do it at all. Anyways, if I had to give the show a rating, I would just give it a miss. I don't think it's that great. I personally would not want to watch it again, unless if I wanted to have it as background noise while I do other stuff. That's pretty much the only way I would watch it again, but it's not something that I was like, oh my God, I fucking love this shit. I'm looking forward to the next episode. Oh, this shit's hype. No, far from that, dog. Not even close. It's just something that if you want some background noise, sure. If you're someone that's never seen the series, would I want you to watch this? No. Go watch the cartoon instead. And then if you want, then you could watch the live action. But you'll probably be wondering then when you watch the live action, why did they make all the changes they did? I will at least add one more thing in that they did do a good job with just trying to portray how serious the war is in this show. They make it feel like there's weight, there's actual consequences and impacts to characters who, let's say, defy Lord Ozai or whoever other character in this show. They actually show like repercussions. Like, there was one scene where someone literally, they got caught on fire. Like, they were burned to death. And I was like, oh shit, wait, am I watching the same show here? Why is this in here? Like, it didn't feel right because that is not something you would explicitly see in the cartoon. So to see some more mature elements brought into the show was actually really welcome, and I enjoy it. And I think it helped to add to the sense of realism and the actual effect of the war that is currently going on, that this isn't like some playtime, oh we're having a war going on, but it's not a big deal. No, they make it show that this is a severe thing and that these actual nations are being affected severely by the Fire Nation, and for that I really do appreciate it. I feel that even if you didn't watch the cartoon, if you could watch this live action by itself like you could, let's say, One Piece, I don't think you could do it. I really don't. I think that the live action Avatar is just too jumbled of a story, and the plot and narrative is all over the place, and nothing really makes coherent sense at all. And like in the overall, when you look at like the grand picture, it just, I don't know. But yeah, if you made this far into the video, consider giving a like, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment below what you think. Have a great day. Yeah.